Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do a character guide on Paladin Cecil. Now, before I jump into Paladin Cecil's guide, there is something really important that all players should be doing right now if they can. If you've watched my other guides, you've probably heard me talk about Paladin Cecil's Sea Sphere in other videos. Basically, Paladin Cecil's Sea Sphere interacts very well with characters that have encouragement armor. And the reason why it does is the way the encouragement armor works with Paladin Cecil Sea Sphere. There's a lot of bosses and difficult fights that have a ton of brave gain reduction. Well, the way it interacts, it kind of ignores that, or it just calculates differently. So you can basically brave gain really well through brave gain reduction bosses. So you want to refine a lot of these Paladin Cecil Sea Spheres while you can, so you can put them on all of your encouragement armor characters. Okay, so I'm going to show you really quick where you can do that, and then we'll jump in. But if you just go into like the item exchange shop, currently if you're watching this video while Paladin Cecil is live, basically you want the sphere, you want the sphere refinery for the One Horn King of Beasts. So this is from the 6-man event. So if you click refine, you're going to see Paladin Cecil is in there. I've got like 9 of them right now. I might grab a few more. I've already put a ton on characters. I've already gone through like 17 or 19 of these, so but there will be more characters coming out that can use it, so I'm just going to grab a few of those. And even the refined one is really good, really worth having, so make sure you grab a bunch of those. I just wanted to throw that out right away because that's very important. If you want to know if a character has encouragement armor, I'll just show you how to find that out really quick, because I'm sure some of you are going to ask me that. So this is on the Lufenia armor. So if you go to the exchange shop for the Lufenia armor, you would just click and hold down on a character. So we could click on Maria. So she has support keystone, right? So you'd want to find a character with encouragement keystone. So let me just go till I see a character that I know has encouragement keystone, to see if I can find one off the top of my head here. Does Kryl have it? Let me see if Kryl has it. Nope, she's got Unity. But yeah, you'll just see a character that has encouragement keystone, and then that's how you'll know it's a character that can utilize that sphere really well. Let's see, Aerith. Nope, she's support. It's a lot of these like battery type characters that can use it. Is Selfie one? Yes, okay, so Selfie's got it. So right there you see it says encouragement keystone. Those are the characters that you want to put the sphere on. Now, if you look at a character who you've already maxed out, or like you've upgraded the LD, it won't say encouragement keystone because it upgrades to a different skill and it's going to say something different. So if you have a character you've already invested past like the base Lufenia armor, you need to actually come into the shop and click on like the base Lufenia armor without any upgrades to see if it has encouragement's keystone. Okay, so that's just a little side note there I wanted to throw in on this video. So let's get back to Paladin Cecil and his guide here. Another thing with Paladin Cecil is he does have a Mannequin Weapon. So in order to get the Mannequin Weapon, you either have to finish Act 2 Chapter 5 and then go to Chapter 5.8, or you can actually buy them in the Power Stone shop now. So that was a new addition recently added to the game, that Mannequin Weapons are available in there. For Cecil's Force Enhancements, he actually is a standard Force Enhancement character. So he's a character that, once again, if you like him, he's a favorite. You probably just want to go all the way to 30 because you're going to upgrade all of his skills quite a bit, and he's going to be doing a lot more damage. 23 is the bare minimum for a character in your main party, just because you want to have the force gauge up. Unless you're bringing like Penello or something. If you're bringing another force charger, they don't have to be fully force enhanced, but they're going to be doing a lot better. If you're actually doing like legitimate Shinryu content, you probably want fully invested characters. You don't have to, but usually I recommend, if you like a character, full invest, go all the way to 30. So let's go ahead and take a look at Cecil's artifacts and spheres, and then we're going to jump into the showcase. So let's go ahead and start with spheres here. So he's got an A, B, and a C slot. So for his A slot, brave damage is really what you want to prioritize. Cecil is a holy damage dealer, and he does enchant and peril. And he can actually do it to the party. So he does do weakness damage. So 7's a pretty good one because it's just a flat out brave damage sphere. You could do something like Jack would be good. Rydia would be really good because they're attacking brave damage. Something like that is what you would want to do. For the B slot, B slot doesn't have as many like crazy options. You're a little bit more flexible. You could do something like Celis. Gabranth for like damage reduction, something like that can work really good. Actually, Kamari's can work okay, and I think you can refine Kamari's right now if you wanted to. And so what I have is I have actually Kamari's full sphere on, reduces his own HP damage taken by 10%. So it's just HP damage reduction. One of those types of spheres that I think Gabranth is actually really, really good too if you have them. But something like that would work in the B slot. The reason why B slot's tricky for Paladin and Cecil, a lot of them have to do with dodging or like the enemies being locked onto or attacking you, and Cecil doesn't have any of those. So he's a little bit trickier, so you want to use one of the more generic B slots. For the C slot, Paladin and Cecil, it's kind of ironic that like he's got like the best C slot, like one of the best C slots in the game, but it's for encouragement armor. He himself actually does not have encouragement armor. So his own sphere actually is not like the best to put on him. You'd want to do the typical like Maria or Lude here, just to help give party attack. So go ahead and go with Maria or Lude there. If you put his own on him, it's not bad. Like it's still going to be fine. You can put that on there as well. Okay, and then for artifacts, you basically want to go attack 108 and the C50, which is Ordeal Grasping Light Boost. Improves all of his stats. So that C50 is like definitely your high priority because it's going to improve all of his stats as long as he has max HP at the start of the last wave. So that's really what you want to go there. Actually, I got a max brave one. I got to switch it to an attack one. There we go. So that is spheres and artifacts. So let's go ahead and hop into a showcase here. So we're going to do that, and we'll just hop in with this team here. I think we'll be just fine. We are on the original Shinryu fight. We won't worry about the friend. Now, Paladin Cecil, I'm going to say this right now. I'm doing this on the first Shinryu fight. He actually wouldn't be the best option for this fight, just because to get his full buffs, you have to have max HP. So here's the thing with Paladin Cecil. For the type of character is, he's basically a holy enchant, and then and does more holy damage against the enemies. Imperil. God, I could not think of the word imperil. He's a holy enchant imperil character. He is a healing support character. So just keep in mind when you're seeing the attack stats and stuff, they're not going to blow you away. A lot of what he's doing, Paladin Cecil back in the day was like the original, like really awesome aura bot to have in your party. He has a lot of auras that help the party look good. The problem is, and the reason people don't recommend him now, is that like Garnet is still like way better, like in terms of auras and stuff. But he's still like, if you don't have like a lot of healing or support characters, he is a pretty darn good character you can invest in if you want to use him, right? He does a lot of healing in his kit, things like that. So he's got an overhead buff, and that's going to be refreshed from the LD. So you just want to make sure that you upkeep that overhead, because that's what's giving him like all of the auras, right? He does start with his EX charged right away, so you could start with that just to get some damage in. So let's go ahead and do that since he has the EX up right away. So let's go ahead and throw that down. Basically, it's just a Brave HP attack with some splash, does some Brave gain. He does a lot of Brave gain in his kit. And then he actually has a buff from his 15 and his 35, but his EX gives both of them. And so basically, they're just going to give attack max brave and then like party defense, party regen, and HP regen. So just from using the EX, we get all of that. Okay. With Rem, now we can just go ahead and swap turns. I decided to bring Rem this time so I can just get into my showcase character a little bit quicker. Make things a little bit easier there, right? So that's what the EX does. Then what you want to do is usually you want to go into the LD. Now, he still has 5 turns on his overhead, so you wouldn't have to do it right away. But we can just go into it now to get it. So sure, let's go ahead and get into that. And then the enemies won't be able to do anything because we have Cam on right now. Yep, and then we'll just swap back into Paladin Cecil. Do that. Alright. So now what you can do is, so we've used the LD. So the LD, you can see brought his overhead back up to 12 stacks. It does a big heal on it, which I forgot to mention, but he gets a free ability use on his next turn. This also does imperil the enemy. So the EX and this both imperil the enemies to holy. Now you get a free skill use. Now, Paladin Cecil actually has one of the more important AA abilities in the game. So I personally usually like using my free skill use on the AA. So we're going to use Light Enchant All, which this now enchants the entire party to holy. So now the entire party is going to be doing weakness damage. So that's really, really important, especially if you're doing like, I guess this was back when there's like Lufenia orbs, but Lufenia orbs for holy, or maybe in like a Shinryu fight, maybe during force time, there's some characters that the force gauge, I think Kuja is like one of them, that the force gauge will want holy damage. Well, this is a great way to enable the whole party to get holy damage to help with force gauging if you need to, right? So I usually like doing the LD into the AA. Then from there, you can kind of just use the skills as you need to. So let's go ahead and use... Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a burst phase. Then I'll just show off the 15 and 35, and then we'll see the burst attack. But it's pretty basic there. We'll just do the EX again since we got it. But you're going to see his damage isn't crazy. Now, my Paladin Cecil is not fully invested. He does have the burst, but it's not plussed. It's not greened. I don't have blue armor on him, anything like that, right? So let's go ahead and do the 15. This is called Saint's Fall. Saint's Fall does a party battery. It gives him one of the buffs, so this gives him the attack max brave buff. And then his 35, the Holy Flame, is going to give him the other buff, which is Divine Shield. That's the one that does party HP regen, brave regen, and then defense. But remember, the EX gives both of those buffs. So you really don't have to worry about the 15 and 35 to upkeep buffs, because the EX, if you're pressing that, you're going to upkeep those, right? Holy Flame, this is your burst heal. So it's going to do AoE damage, big burst heal. So that's really handy when you want to heal up. Now remember, HP is really important with Paladin Cecil, because you have to be at full HP to get the full benefits of his overhead. Now what you're going to notice is the party members, the HP numbers are all orange. So one thing that Paladin Cecil does is he allows you to exceed the HP cap limit, which is really, really cool. So basically, by having Paladin Cecil, we can heal over 100%, which means you potentially could take HP damage, but as long as you're over the base 100%, you still get the full effects of his overhead buff. So that is nice that he helps your party just have a lot of HP, right? That's just another thing that he's doing there. The other thing that I should mention is that he does get 2 transformed HP attacks. So he has Light Slash and Luminous Blast. Really, you're not going to be using those too often. The one thing with Light Slash is it does have quick turn rate up. So sometimes you can press that to like jump his turn up a little bit if you need to. But for the most part, he's got enough skill uses that you're going to be fine just using your 15 and 35 over and over. You're going to get more damage that way. But if you need to, he does have 2 transform HP attacks that you can use. So that's just something there. So what we'll do is, sure, let's do Luminous Blast so you can see it. Okay. So you can see okay damage, but nothing too crazy there. And then we're going to go ahead and do the burst attack here. Soul Shift is kind of cool because he goes like you got Dark Cecil and Paladin Cecil in the animation. Yeah, I like that. That's very cool. So the burst attack, basically, it's a big attack, right, like any others do. But then he's got a burst effect that'll affect the party. But it's pretty much just generic buffing type burst effect, so it doesn't have any crazy like extra effects with it like Cam or Sephiroth or anything like that. So it's just like Brave damage up, Brave damage gained, HP regen, Brave regen, Brave damage limit, and HP damage limit. Those are actually really big ones. And as long as you're at full HP, they're actually pretty significant buffs. So I think if you got his burst effect up, you've got his overhead up, and you're at full HP or greater, he's actually providing really, really good. His auras are competitive. I personally am not a fan of the stipulation that you have to have full HP, because if you're doing a very hard aggressive fight, like that actually might not be a guarantee. The nice thing is once again, he can heal on a dime, like really quick, and he can overheal. So he does protect himself that way. But to me, like, I would honestly rather still just use Garnet. Because her auras and stuff are still like ridiculously good, and you don't have that condition with it. But Paladin Cecil, if you invest in him, you like him, he is a really good character, great support. The thing with Paladin Cecil, he's very flexible on the teams, because he literally can be your slot in all-in-one support character, and you can slap him with just about any 2 characters and you're going to have a good team. So he is a very good support slot for any team. He is flexible that way. So not a bad investment if you decide to invest in him. It's just for my roster, my box, I just don't need that right now. But if you need it, he is a great investment. So anyways, guys, hope you like this video. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.